Government Broadcasts.
Anytime is Bashko time at the store that gives you more. The time by Bashko is
5 o'clock.
Make sure that CC clip ready. We need it for the second.
That's from the Clarendon correspondent coming through. No.
3. All the international stores in the folder. Good. 2.
Newsreaders also.
Yeah, man, everything set, everything ready.
To around point. News Talk 93 FM has got it covered. Across the 7 seas to the 4 corners of the world. It's all captured on the 93 radar. 93.1, 93.3, 93.5, 93.7 and 93.9 on your FM dial. Where News at 5 starts now.
The 5 o'clock news roundup here on News Talk 93 FM. I'm Errol Lee.
And I'm Andre Bernard.
Coming up in this newscast, press conference tomorrow on the National People's Cooperative Bank of Jamaica Limited scandal.
Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC Chairman Dr. Garnet Roper says the Jamaican economy has failed to help young people.
No PNP candidate yet confirmed for Northeast St. Elizabeth.
And National Water Commission NWC President rejects calls for the entity to consider desalination.
Now the news in detail. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is to hold a press conference tomorrow morning over the controversy surrounding the National People's Cooperative Bank of Jamaica Limited, the NPCB. The press conference follows a special audit of the NPCB that uncovered misuse of money of the more than 200,000 members of the bank and abuse of position by those in charge of the institution, resulting in over $665 million being unaccounted for. The audit found that lending from members' savings has reached the 50% cutoff mark, and that the weakness at the bank has exposed the institution to high financial, reputational, and information technology risks. The probe was carried out between May and June this year. The audit first came up for discussion last week at a meeting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee of Parliament, where, under pressure from opposition member Audley Shaw, Permanent Secretary in the Agriculture Ministry Donovan Stanbury disclosed that the probe had found that managers at the bank were granting themselves loans and approving loans for board members.
Chairman of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Dr. Garnet Roper, says the Jamaican economy has failed to help young people. He was speaking against the background of a lack of economic opportunities for Jamaicans, and in particular, the youth.
While accepting the goodwill of the trade union movement and of the workers of this country, it must also hold up in terms of policy options available, a pathway to a better deal for workers. That's what the discussion ought to be about. We have our young people in Western Jamaica slaughtering each other, and we say it's latter scam. And it is latter scam, but latter scam is because also of the failure of the Jamaican economy to mainstream our young people.
He says the People's National Party under Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller has deteriorated into petty squabbles when there are more serious issues to confront and address.
It is unfortunate that of all the political movements in the history of this country, the PNP under the watch of Mrs. Portia Simpson-Miller has deteriorated to the kind of petty squabble I see in the media. I am saying the issues confronting our people are far too deep and serious and solemn for it to be surrendered to this kind of egoism and this kind of foolishness that I see dominating the political conversation.
Chairman of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Dr. Garnet Roper. He was speaking on the evening edition last evening with host Lambert Brown.
And on that same program, Dr. Roper said the political process in the PNP has reached an all-time low because of the self-interest of some members of the party.
One thing the PNP has done is to help the JLP take that thing out of the news, though. While the JLP does have its foot and mouth disease and its self-inflicted wounds all over the place. Just now it seems to me that the dumbing down of the political process has reached its nadir in the PNP. And why do I say that? They're on the eve of the 150th anniversary of the war in Morant-Bay, led by a Baptist deacon. And when you listen to what passes for political activity and activism, it is really about people parading their self-interest, wanting to get to Garden House for their own sake, without connecting it to some greater cause of the people.
Roper, in explaining his point, said General Secretary of the PNP, Paul Burke, has not handled the internal squabbles that are currently taking place in the party properly.
This is the worst I have seen the General Secretaryship of the people, of the party, handle conflicts within the party. I've never seen the PNP with so many internal squabbles near to an election handled as badly as they are being handled now. I don't want to personalize it with Mr. Burke. I don't know anything particular about what he has said or done. But what I'm saying is that I expect the General Secretaryship of a party to manage these things that are not being well managed.
Meanwhile, Dr. Roper also blasts the Jamaica Labour Party, especially with regard to the rape cases involving two individuals connected to the opposition. He makes reference to Paul Stevens, who was locked up in Qatar for close to 3 years for alleged sexual molestation of a minor, and JLP former councillor Don Creary, who is presently facing 2 rape charges. Roper says the JLP has made some dreadful miscalculations.
Okay. I have to admit that the irony of that one wasn't last time when the former councillor was arrested, now on 2 counts of rape. And really and truly the jail has from time to time made some dreadful miscalculation where criminality is concerned.
He argues that the crime for which Stevens was charged does not warrant any special treatment from the government towards him, since thousands of Jamaicans are facing similar charges worldwide.
For example, somebody were convicted for breaking the law in pursuit of the people's cause. You could probably say Mandela was an ex-convict. But I'm not so sure about these crimes against a person that you have the latitude that seemed to be enjoyed. I saw a telling response to the gentleman who got himself in problems, is that there are 2,400 Jamaicans in custody all over the place. Why should he be deserve of any special treatment? And the crimes for which he was charged are the ones precisely that we have to make clearest that there is a strong social opprobrium against.
Voice there of Dr. Garnet Roper, President of the Jamaica Theological College.
PNP General Secretary Paul Burke is denying reports that Evan Redman has been selected as the party's standard-bearer for North East St. Elizabeth. Reports emerged on Tuesday that the PNP's hierarchy had selected Redman following an emergency meeting. The reports about Redman's selection came after Member of Parliament for the area, Raymond Price, said he would not seek re-election. However, in a statement yesterday, Burke said the People's National Party has not selected any candidate for the North East St. Elizabeth constituency. Burke says the party has put the candidate selection process on hold indefinitely.
Jamaica Labour Party Area Council Chairman for Kingston and St. Andrew, Winston Ennis, says he will not be investigating the circumstances under which the JLP candidate Juliet Cuthbert's explicit rant has gone public. Ennis said he was not privy to the details of the conversation, which has created a stir on social media, and insists that he's not interested in doing so. The Area Council Chairman went on to say it was a private conversation, and so he would not comment on it any further. When asked about the circumstances which preceded the discussion, Ennis said he was not an integral in that constituency and was unaware of the happenings. Cuthbert spoke to a local newspaper today, stating that she regrets the manner in which she handled the situation and highlighted that the heat of the discussion and anger got the better of her.
Businessman Don Creary was granted bail amounting to $4 million when he appeared in the corporate area RM court today. Creary has been slapped with 2 counts of rape and was offered $2 million bail on each count. The 48-year-old was charged last week with raping a 15-year-old girl and was slapped with an additional rape charge on Tuesday. 23-year-old publicist Shanique Williams was charged along with Creary in relation to the alleged incident involving the 15-year-old in November 2013. Williams, who has been charged with a count of aiding and abetting rape and sexual touching, was offered $1.5 million bail in the corporate area RM court earlier this week. In the latest case, Creary is charged with the reported rape of an 18-year-old woman at an apartment in Meadowbrook, St. Andrew in June.
You're listening to news on Newstalk 93 FM. It's 11 minutes after 5. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has succeeded in the conviction of another member of the police force. In this latest case, Constable Philip Campbell, who was attached to the Kingston Central Police Station, was convicted of assault occasioning bodily harm yesterday. He'll be sentenced on October 11. He faces a maximum of 3 years in prison. The complainant, a businessman from the parish of St. Andrew, made a report to the Police Public Complaints Authority on November 17, 2009. The matter was subsequently transferred to INDECOM when the PPCA Act was repealed. On May 9, 2011, following a ruling from the DPP, Campbell was charged for assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The report alleged that Campbell pulled his service pistol on the complainant following a heated verbal exchange. The exchange emanated from a perceived discrepancy with the complainant's place in a line at an auto parts store, where both were conducting business. The complainant also alleged that Campbell punched him in the region of his ear.
Opposition spokesman on national security Derek Smith says the country's national security is in a precarious state. As a result, he's calling on Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller to outline what will be done to address the issue of crime. Smith also says that National Security Minister Peter Bunting has been silent as the murder rate increases and the police come under siege. He is also expressing concern that offences such as murder, robbery, drug trafficking and suicide are increasingly linked to police personnel.
Dissatisfied with the average 600 illegal guns taken off the streets by lawmen each year, the Police High Command today launched its Get the Guns campaign. The initiative, which was announced by Police Commissioner Dr. Carl Williams several weeks ago, was launched at his office on Old Hope Road in St. Andrew. The gun has been the weapon of choice in the killing of some 10,300 Jamaicans over the last 10 years. This represents approximately 75% of the 13,780 murders recorded in Jamaica over that same period. Further, an additional 9,000 Jamaicans were shot and injured, resulting in a severe burden on the country's health services. This has also impacted thousands of families whose breadwinners could no longer support them. Commissioner Williams says in the last 10 years, guns have also featured in the rape of some 1,200 women and girls.
Meanwhile, the police are offering greater cash incentives for persons who provide information leading to the seizure of guns and ammunition. Police Commissioner Dr. Carl Williams says incentives will also be offered to officers and police divisions which seize the largest number of firearms and ammunition. The Police Commissioner also announced increased cordons and searches across the country as part of efforts to crack down on persons with illegal weapons. Members of the public have been encouraged to play a key role in the Get the Guns campaign by reporting to Crime Stop any information they have on illegal firearms. The police will also introduce coastal watches for towns and communities along the shoreline to stem the drugs for guns trade between Jamaica and Haiti.
President of the National Water Commission, NWC, Mark Barnett, has dismissed calls for Jamaica to invest in desalination plants. Speaking at the recent Rotary Club of St. Andrew North meeting, Barnett said, while the idea or concept of desalination is enticing, Jamaica is not at this time able to carry out such a project.
There's a high capital cost / construction costs, and based on some recent figures, these cost ranges from 14 million US per million gallon installed to, and I give you the high figure first. So how it works is, the smaller the volume of the desal facility you're putting in, the higher the cost. So if you put in a higher volume facility, the cost, economy of scale will work out in your favor. It's about $8 million US per million gallon. So if I am putting up a 10 million gallon facility, I'm expected to spend close to 80 million US. And that's just the capital cost. If I'm putting up a simple surface rapid sand filtration system, my cost is probably half of that.
Barnett says based on where the Jamaican economy is at present, desalination would not be beneficial to the country.
NWC will have a challenge in whether you put it in as a private investor and selling me the water, or I put it in as the operator to sell the water. The finished water costs at the plant gate, and this is just as it come off the system, is just about 1.1 to 1.2 million US dollars per million gallon. In other words, it would cost us just about $1.20 US per gallon of water. You can compare that to what you pay now at your yard. I don't add distribution costs, administrative costs to this figure yet.
Barnett was speaking at a meeting of the St. Andrew North Rotary Club.
And in news from the region, in Trinidad, 8-year-old Brianna Jaglal was electrocuted as she tried to charge her electronic tablet today. Reports are that Brianna was using her tablet at home at around 8:30 a.m. Relatives said she went into the washroom downstairs and tried to plug the charger into an extension cord which hung on the wall over a washer. As she made contact with the socket, she began fidgeting and fell to the ground. Her parents, Brendan and Anne-Marine Jaglal, contacted the emergency health services, which took her to the hospital. However, Brianna died as doctors attended to her. Relatives believe the house may have had faulty wiring as the electrical system was old.
That's local and regional news. For international news, we join the BBC.
BBC News. Croatia has said it won't be able to take any more migrants and has asked the army to be ready to protect its borders. The Interior Minister said the migrants already in Croatia must apply for asylum or be treated as illegal immigrants. There were chaotic scenes at the border town of Tovarnik when riot police struggled to control thousands of people. Syrian government forces have launched a series of airstrikes on rebel-held districts. At least 15 people are reported to have been killed when helicopters dropped barrel bombs on the town of Busra Asham in Dara province. There have also been air raids on Aleppo in the north and Raqqa further east. The United States Federal Reserve has decided not to increase its main interest rate, which has been close to zero since the financial crisis 7 years ago. The US Central Bank said that risks abroad and other financial developments had led it to delay what would have been the first rise since 2008. General Motors has agreed to pay $900 million to end criminal inquiry into its failure to recall millions of vehicles with faulty ignition switches. GM admitted failing to disclose the problem, which could shut down engines, disable power brakes, and prevent airbags from working. American Airlines says it's resolved the technical issues that had forced it to suspend domestic flights to Dallas, Chicago and Miami. The airline said in a statement that it was working with customers to get them to their destinations as soon as possible. BBC News.
Broadcast Jamaican and Newscast 93 FM now give the news in the Jamaican language.
Good evening. My name is Khadid Marshall and this is the news in the Jamaican language. Don Curry get $4 million bail when him go before the corporate area RM court today. Them been charged him last week for the rape of one 15-year-old girl and them charged him again Tuesday for the rape of one 18-year-old girl. 23-year-old Shanique Williams get charged in the rape of the 15-year-old girl cause them claims that she been dead and she feel up the girl too. She get $1.5 million bail Monday gone. Them claims that Query raped the 18-year-old girl and one apartment in a Meadowbrook, St. Andrew, June gone. The Ministry for Agriculture and Fishery will keep one meeting tomorrow morning for talk about the mix-up we're going with the National People Cooperative Bank at Jamaica, MPCB. This come off from an audit with them do find out so them use up some of the money where people put in at the bank. The people them are in charge of the bank borrow up some money and them can find over $665 million. Them do the audit from May 13 to June 19 this year. The Public Administration and Appropriation Committee, PAAC, been a talk about the audit last week when them said shows that the manager them at the bank give themselves loan and give the board member them loan too. Orlando Terralang, where the Jamaica Labour Party JLP caretaker for the East Central St. Catherine, so what Junior Minister Arnold Brown tell Parliament, some spend over $3 billion in the constituency, puzzle him, cause the constituency underdeveloped and enough poor people there. Him say what Brown say puzzling like the $1 million phone bill where him been have. As according to Terralang, outside of the Lakes Pen and Lime Tree community where have strong PMP supporter, him not do good in the rest of the constituency. News from the rest of the Caribbean. The Caribbean Community CARICOM Secretariat gave the Dominican government 400 emergency-led solar lantern to help them after Tropical Storm Erica mash them up. The lantern then built with solar cell and have backup battery. It give off light through one LED bulb and come with one USB port to can charge phone and other things. Tropical Storm Erica been mash up the Dominica the most out of all of the CARICOM country them and kill over 31 people. News from foreign. Enough migrants are fight with the Croatian police in a two place on the border with Serbia cause them a try stop them from going in the European Union. Them broke through police line at Tovarnik and Besdan after them been a stand up in the sun the whole day. At least 8,900 migrants coming to Croatia today after Hungary lock off them border and block off the route there for go in the European Union. As according to the Croatian Interior Minister, the country pack up a people. The EU minister them are going to keep an emergency meeting next week for talk about what going. My name is Kadeen Marshall, and that are the news in the Jamaican language.
Broadcast Jamaican and New Start 93 FM just gave the news in the Jamaican language.
The 5 o'clock Sports Roundup is brought to you by Newstalk 93 FM, life-changing radio.
Good afternoon. With your 5 o'clock Sports Roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM, I am Mikhail Drama Johns, and we begin with football. This evening's KSA Business House 5-a-side action will see two matches being contested at 6:30 p.m. as Rainforest Seafoods Limited play Tasty Limited and ICD face Mobile Reserves. Then at 7:15 p.m., Mind play McKay Security Company Limited, Business Access TV meet Transport Authority, and Fontana Pharmacy challenge VMBS. All matches will be played at the National Water Commission NWC playfield in Mona. Following a request from the Jamaica Football Federation JFF, FIFA will stage the first FIFA futsal coaching course in Jamaica next month. The course will be conducted by Graham Dell, who is coaching instructor for FIFA futsal. Among course trainees will be representatives from parish associations and national coaches and representatives with experience in futsal. The courses will be held at the UTEC Auditorium and the JFF Football Centre from August 12 to 16. Further afield, Manchester United's Luke Shaw is expected to tomorrow have surgery for the second time this week. The fullback is to once more undergo an operation on his right leg after it was broken in two places on Tuesday. And today's Europa League action saw the biggest win going to FC Shock, who blanked Apple Nicosia 3-0, while a brace from Heung-min Son led Tottenham Hotspur to a come-from-behind 3-1 win versus FK Karabag, the same score that saw Athletic Bilbao beat FC Augsburg and Molde beat Fenerbahce. Meanwhile, Tottenham's English counterparts Liverpool were held to a 1-1 draw by French side Bordeaux. And until further notice, Jerome Valk has been put on leave and released from his duties as Secretary General of the World Football Governing Body FIFA. A statement from the entity said it had been made aware of a series of allegations involving the Secretary General. Allegations today implicated Valk in a scheme to sell World Cup tickets for above face value. Moving on to athletics, Olympic bronze medalist Warren Ware says come next year he'll have a stellar season. After a season plagued with injuries and still undergoing treatment, the 200-meter specialist says things could have been worse. Meanwhile, the 2013 World Championship 200 meters silver medalist said it was a good season for the country. Former member of the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, JADCO, Dr. Paul Wright, has blasted athletes who use performance-enhancing drugs to win races. During the conversation, Wright touched on the apparent reason for the use of supplements.
They use a supplement and test it positive because the manufacturers of the supplement put in something that wasn't there before in order to get the promised effect. People who sell supplements based on what they expect to do. They say to you, use my supplement and you will run faster. Therefore, if you buy the supplement and don't run faster, you're going to look for another supplement. Therefore, it is incumbent on them to put something in the supplement that will in fact make you run faster. And once you understand that, you for the life of me understand how anybody with any modicum of memory and intelligence can go back and take another supplement.
Meanwhile, he alluded to Jamaicans Sharon Simpson and Asafa Powell and their recent acquittal on doping charges.
Sharon Simpson and Asafa Powell were found guilty of having in their system a performance-enhancing drug that they alleged came from supplement that they purchased. We have now known that they have received compensation from the manufacturers of the supplement because the supplement did not say that it had anything. But you must remember that Johan Blake and 6 other Jamaicans were suspended years ago for taking a supplement sold to them by an athlete who has been using the supplement and testing negative for years.
Voice there of former JADCO member Dr. Paul Wright. He was speaking on a Fresh Start yesterday. And moving on to cricket, the West Indies Cricket Board WRCB says the Dominica Emergency Relief Fund is to earn all funds raised at its upcoming 2020 charity match. To be played next Saturday in Barbados, admission is $10 for adults and $5 for children under the age of 12. The game will feature Windies batting legend Brian Lara, Tobago-born international football star Dwight York, and Jamaican track star Ewan Blake. And finally, in netball, Tracy Neville has been named England head coach on a permanent basis. Following Anna May's dismissal in March, Neville was named as interim coach. She led England to a bronze medal at the Netball World Cup in August, having beaten Jamaica 66-44 in the 3rd and 4th place decider. And that's it for the 5 o'clock sports roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM. I am Mikhail Drama Johns saying stay tuned for the business news and weather report.
The 5 o'clock sports roundup was brought to you by Newstalk 93 FM, life-changing sports radio.
At 28 minutes after 5, we take a look at the weather. There is a tropical wave moving across Jamaica. The tropical wave is expected to be west of the island by this evening. In the forecast for tonight, conditions will be partly cloudy.
To end the news, the main points. A press conference will be held tomorrow to discuss the National People's Cooperative Bank of Jamaica Limited scandal.
JUTC Chairman Dr. Garnet Roper says the Jamaican economy has failed to help young people.
No PNP candidate yet confirmed for Northeast St. Elizabeth.
And NWC President rejects calls for the entity to consider desalination.
That's your 5 o'clock news roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM. I'm Errol Lee.
And I'm Andre Bernard.
The evening edition with Garfield Higgins. Next.